since we're bringing you on today, and obviously you're part of the business as well, and I've had a relationship first, you being a client of ours, then I'm obviously worked with you as part of your business too. Would be good to understand, what you saw in the space and why you decided to kind of make a move and start working with us too.
I am the CMO at Avalanche Consulting. Been working at the company for around 8 months now. Prior to joining Avalanche, I used to run a content marketing agency that was targeting other agencies, which it's a bit of a trap that a lot of businesses, rather entrepreneurs, fall into, because they see that it's a trending sort of business model to go after. They see that there are a lot of people making money inside it, but it comes back to the same problem, which is these guys don't actually make that much money in the first place. So selling content marketing services to other agencies, came to Avalanche Consulting at one point when they had like a growth incubator program. Studied them for around 6 months, right?
Yeah, about 6 months.
Speaking with Bernardo, we were sort of going through the same issue, which was selling to agencies just wasn't sustainable anymore. And at around the same time, he had launched Avalanche Capital, selling the fundraising services to funds and startups. And it came to a spot where a lot of the portfolio companies of these funds were seeking assistance on the marketing and sales front. And he invited me on board to essentially run that part of the business, and also sort of broaden out the markets that we were going after, and instead of just selling to agencies, selling to B2B service-based businesses at large. And that gives you a much wider spectrum of companies that you can go after, and more specifically companies that can actually afford high ticket prices, which will effectively allow you to deliver a better quality service.
And this is a good example of we're doing the exact same service, we're delivering the exact same vehicle, but to a completely different market that perceives it as much more valuable. And so we're able to charge more, clients stay on for longer, they're happier, and the value that we deliver is much larger than, for other industries that we would have worked with before.
Showed them love and they showed man hate. These days that is expected. Outside with a bad one, she told me that I'm bougie, said I'm selective. I'm in the streets and I got some rivals, so man stepping protected. Come from the hood where I ain't had dough, get in my bag and spend it. Been there, done that, been there, swing bro, all of my ex things. Back then bandos give me a...
You don't know these things, right? When you start working with someone, it's always like you take a bit of a leap of faith. And I think we spoke about this today. It's what entrepreneurship is about. You just make the decisions which you think are right, and then eventually you hope for them to be the right ones, but there's no kind of playbook on how to play this.
Exactly. Yeah, I'd echo that and say it was mostly leap of faith at first, but as time went by, didn't really have any doubts that it was the right decision to make.
Yeah, and I think the fact that you start working with someone and then you develop a relationship with that person too, it allows you to then understand how their skill set can be used and not see them just as a sort medium of exchange.
One thing that companies that are at this stage need to understand, once they're going from like very small to perhaps, to a point where they can actually exponentially scale, is the people that you bring in, like the management team, their personal incentives need to be aligned with what they can effectively do inside your company. Like if their goal is just to make money and you're going to provide them an opportunity to make the amount of money that they'd like to be making inside your company, then everyone wins.
Obviously you were doing something different before. You were running your own business. I was running my own business, and we were working together, but then I asked you to come in and spearhead the department that is the marketing department, right?
Yeah.
How do you make that decision, and what's the rationale behind it, given that most people probably just want to follow their own path and be their own entrepreneur and own business owner, and you obviously decide to come into an infrastructure and then do your own thing as well?
Was mostly speed, I'd say, because with my own agency, it was myself and like a few freelancers, and was doing okay, I guess. But with Avalanche, there was an actual company that was already, structured. So when I joined, I had the ability to move a lot faster than I would have if I stayed alone. So that was mostly at speed.
And my leadership, of course.
Leadership. Of course.
The overarching theme of this conversation, and the reason I wanted to bring you in as well today here, You obviously worked with a lot of agencies, and when you came on, part of the work that you were doing was directly supervising agencies and some of the clients that we still work with to this day, right?
Yeah.
What is the biggest mistake that you see these agency owners make? What do you think is the playbook if you were to start an agency in this day and age? And how would you implement those frameworks to allow you to scale quicker, not making the mistakes that you made, I made, or our clients made?
The biggest thing is, I mean, it sounds super cliche and corny, but it's just thinking outside of the box. Everyone is done with the Facebook ad agencies, the email marketing agencies, the Google ad agencies, whatever it is. So people that are trying to start now, or people struggling to scale now, they are stuck trying to sell services rather than selling very comprehensive solution that actually solve market problems. And that's part of what we're doing now with Avalanche Consulting, which is looking at markets that are underserviced or growing, have a high market entry rate, meaning they have a lot of money to spend and there are new players coming into the market. And they don't necessarily have the marketing and sales expertise that is needed to help them get to the next level, essentially. So it's just identifying what those markets are, and not just going off of the content that you see online and trying to replicate what XYZ guru did 2 years ago. That likely doesn't work now.
Good shit, bro. Good shit. Very well said. Wrap up, had the chance to go around with the car, to go to Sintra to do some sightseeing as well, see some of the nice palaces, had lunch there as well at the Portuguese traditional kind of restaurant. How did you find your time in Portugal, between Madeira and obviously coming here? And
it was great. I mean, the weather wasn't too different from London, which is a bit of a shame.
You brought it with you, yeah.
Yeah, every time I come the weather's rubbish, but it is what it is.
But what do you think serves as a good foundation to be able to work together while working remotely?
Like in our case specifically?
In our case specifically, because there's a lot of overlap, there's a lot of communication, but how do you find it efficient and effective to work together?
Yeah. I think autonomy is the main thing. Like this for advice in general for companies that have a remote team. It's like making sure they hire people that are able to execute their work regardless of who they're with. That's one key thing. In our case specifically, like we began as completely just working together, but we also became friends outside of that, and that definitely plays a part into our dynamic of working together. So that's one thing in our case specifically. But yeah, just make sure you're hiring people that are going to do the work regardless of you being present or not.
Obviously a bit of a different episode today. We got to bring Bruno in all the way from London and to work with us and kind of just experience a bit more of our days. Hopefully you got to understand a bit more of his involvement with the company, the tasks that he overviews and the responsibilities that he has, but also the experience that has been working together and building his own agency and then kind of joining us and understanding how to help other businesses. So we'll try to do more of these in the next couple of episodes. We've done it with Live, now you get the chance to meet Bruno as well. And then we'll catch you on the next one. Agora já está. Passa.
Muito obrigado.
Valeu, malta. Aproveitem. Força.
Obrigado. Obrigado.